I used to see luxury shopping as a hobby, and I had spent so many weekends in designer stores buying things that I didn't need. So it's fair to say I've made many shopping mistakes, but over the years, I've created a mental checklist of 5 questions that I always ask myself before buying anything. And trust me, it will completely change the way you shop. If you're new here, I make videos about intentional shopping, creating a timeless wardrobe, and making smarter choices when it comes to life, shopping, and money. For me, dressing well doesn't mean you have to keep buying. The key is to buy the right things while being responsible with your budget. So the first question you should ask yourself is, can I afford this without any stress? This one sounds obvious, but it's so important. I feel like we sometimes normalize the idea of luxury shopping, to the point some people might even think it's an essential part of life, like it's a given. But the truth is, luxury shopping is, as the name suggests, a luxury. And so that should be reflected onto your budget. You see, we are all at different stages in life. So of course, we'll all have different priorities. So if you come across someone on social media who seems to be buying a luxury handbag every week, slow down and reassess. The thing is, this person might already have several very successful businesses, and they are now just enjoying the fruit of their labor. In contrast, if you are at the stage of your life where you're trying to build a career, of course buying a Louis Vuitton handbag is not a small change, and that is okay. Not many of us are born with money, and we shouldn't feel ashamed about respecting our own budget. Personally, I still enjoy luxury shopping, but it's just not a top priority for me anymore. The things that matter to me more now include planning for my future, investing in myself, eating healthy, traveling, and spending time with my family. With that in mind, I plan my finances accordingly. I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again, but it's never worth it to get yourself into debt for any kind of luxury shopping. True luxury is financial peace, not financial stress. Question number 2 you should ask yourself before buying any luxury item is, will these go with my wardrobe? For me, luxury pieces should enhance your wardrobe, not make it harder for you to get dressed. So when you buy a new item, try not to focus on just the item itself. Instead, you should look at how this item will complement what you already have. For example, a simpler necklace tends to be a lot more wearable than a statement piece. A bag in a neutral color tends to be easier to style than something in a bright red color. And flat shoes tend to be easier and nicer to wear than high heels, especially if you have a very busy lifestyle. Now, quite often this means you are buying less exciting pieces, but for most people, these simpler pieces tend to work better. And let's not forget, when you keep reaching for something, the cost per wear for that item will go down heavily, which means this purchase will be well worth your money. The third question I like to ask myself when buying luxury items is, will I want this in 5 years? Now I know 5 years seem like a very long time, but a lot of the pieces in my own collection have been with me for longer than that. Not only that, I actually enjoy them way more now than before. In fact, I think the reason I've been shopping less and less is because I already have a collection of things that continue to serve me very well for many years. So don't ever feel like you always have to buy the latest and the greatest. The key is to own what you will enjoy for a long time. This is why I never really care about trends, because the whole idea about looking trendy is that you have to keep replacing your wardrobe, and that is simply not sustainable in the long run, especially if you're talking about expensive luxury items. Now, I don't know about you, but I always have this habit of visualizing my life in 10 years. And personally, I always picture things like, where would I be? What kind of lifestyle would I have? What would my day look like? What goals would I have? And what kind of wardrobe would I have to support the life that I want to live? Visualizing a dream future helps me focus on the important things, and I'm also able to curate the things I buy. For example, if you're working a corporate job, but but you absolutely hate it, expanding your work closet might just be the wrong investment. But let's say if you're very clear about your future goals to retire early and have your own business, you will reflect that on the way you shop, and in the long run, you will save a lot of money. For me, I visualize a life where I might do some creative work, I might travel a lot more, and I might own a small business that allows me to generate a revenue regardless of my location. With that in mind, I want my outfits to be very casual but comfortable, my bag collection curated but incredibly versatile. On top of that, I also want to always own a small collection of fine jewelry pieces because even though these are tiny elements, they make the best accessories in my opinion. And all that became the premise of how I do my shopping. I don't see it as sacrificing my current life, I'm simply making sensible choices. Another question you should ask yourself before buying luxury item is, what is the realistic resale value? Now, when I first started buying luxury items, I only focused on brands like Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and Chanel, because everyone said these were investment pieces. So for a long time, I was under the impression that I could always sell them if things didn't work out. Before long, that actually became my excuse for making a lot of the impulsive purchases. However, I soon realized that selling luxury items is not as easy as buying them. The thing is, even if you have a following and you're planning to sell to your viewers, you still have to take a lot of time to take pictures of the item, post about the sale, answer every question, package the item carefully, and so on. The other option would be to use a consignment service, but then you'll have to pay a very hefty sale commission, which is usually about 20 to 30%. And let's not forget, sometimes it takes a very long time before your item sells. After selling many of my own luxury items, I now have a very different perspective when it comes to luxury shopping. I make every single purchase with the intention of keeping them for a long time. In fact, if possible, I hope I'll never have to go through the selling process again. So what I'm saying is, unless if you have a resale business, you should always prioritize buying things that you actually use rather than pieces with good resale value. Now, I'm not suggesting to totally disregard resale value. The reality is, some brands hold their values incredibly well, like Hermes and Chanel. But resale value shouldn't be the only thing you consider when buying luxury items for your personal use. The last question I like to ask myself when doing luxury shopping is, am I buying this for me or for validation? Now, I'll be very honest, the reason I started doing luxury shopping was because I needed validation. I'm someone who didn't grow up with a lot of resources, and even as a young child, I would dream of owning very nice things. And as soon as I started making a living, I went shopping. I bought a lot of things not because I liked them or I needed them, but because I wanted to prove to myself and everyone else that I was now doing well. It actually took me quite a number of years to finally realize that no one actually cares. From there, I stopped trying to impress people with luxury shopping and I started doing low buy as well. So when you're interested in a luxury item, I really recommend you to ask yourself, am I buying this for me? Doing this means you'll only buy items that actually serve you rather than anyone else. In my own collection, there are so many pieces that I bought for myself and myself only. For example, my Woolrich Parker jacket that I wear every single winter because it keeps me so warm and cozy. I love it to bits, and I've always said if anything ever happens to it, I'll go out there and get another one right away. So with every single purchase you make sure it's something that adds value to your life and yourself. These 5 questions help me make sure that every single purchase is intentional. And because I've been so selective, I honestly have been enjoying my wardrobe so much more. Now, I know some people might think it's tedious to have to go through so many questions just to buy something. But like I said in the beginning of the video, luxury shopping is a luxury. So unless if you have unlimited money and resources, it makes sense to be sensible with what we buy. And I'd love to hear from you. What's the one purchase that you know you'll never regret? And what's the one thing that you wish you hadn't bought? Let's start a conversation in the comments. And that's it from me today. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I will see you soon.